Greetings, Internet, and welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. In this episode of Aaron Plays, we're going through Air and Armour, the Thermopylae scenario, and we're into turn 4. Will I complete the whole of turn 4? Depends how long the video goes on for. I completed in the last video all of turn 3. That was an hour and a little bit long. Longer than I would like to, but let's see. I mean, if it's short finishes after only about 30 minutes, I might do the whole turn. Um, Let's see if I can actually do a whole turn without an error. Unlikely, but you never know. Um, Currently, we have the Warsaw Pact taking quite a lot of losses, but the NATO line is a little bit stretched. So it all depends on that initiative die roll, as I thought was very important in turn 3. If you haven't seen turn 3, go back and take a look. If you're just joining here, I'd say start turn 1 because I do make some bumbling mistakes as I go along, but they sort of get corrected, and hopefully that will help any of you that are learning this game to not make the same mistakes. Let's go down the map and see what's going on. Okay, so that's pretty much the overall map of the situation. We have so we're doing turn 4. In turn 3, we had a counterattack by NATO around this area here, which forced back. Well, this regiment was shattered in turn 2, but NATO gave it a drubbing, and it's now really just only got 2 steps out of its 9. It's pretty much forced to combat. Then the Warsaw Pact brought this unit here to do a hasty attack on this, with no result. The Warsaw Pact artillery's been hammered. It's only got 1 step left there. And yeah, I'm finding the artillery is quite vulnerable, especially if Hex, or obviously Hex needs to be reconned. And let's just say that this NATO dice here has been very helpful for them for doing that very thing. So we're going to start this turn. We're going to bring up the charts and tables. Let me just go to there we go, sequencing cards. And I would like to emphasize on this that you need to go through this step by step, because I didn't do that last episode and I did make a few mistakes. So we're starting right at the top. Reinforcement phase, there are no reinforcements. We now have the Warsaw Pact planning phase, which is done before we work out who has the initiative. So let's do that now. The Warsaw Pact have got 3 command points. They have 2 with their HQs and 1 off-board command point in this scenario. To do a march requires 0 command points. Can we zoom in a little bit on that? Oh, that's the wrong button. Zoom there. There we go. All right. So, and this is where it's not symmetrical, and it is showing the planning they've got to do before they even know where's the initiative. I mentioned that in the previous episode, because the first 2 turns, the Warsaw Pact had the initiative, but turn 3 and onwards, well, it's determined by a die roll. Odds and it's a 50-50 chance. So let's see what the Warsaw Pact needs to do. We know that this regiment here, the 24th, that can only receive March. It cannot receive anything else because it's shattered. It cannot do anything offensive or reserve or anything along that line there. Now, what to do? We know that the NATO is a bit stretched. I made an error in the deployment of this unit that it cannot use road movement to reinforce. So therefore, it can move road movement rate. I should emphasize that road movement rate. So it can't use that as, or each hex as a half. It can use them as 1. It doesn't. It can use the road, so it doesn't have to suffer the heavy terrain. But it's never going to get 1, 2, 3 to there, and it's never going to get 1, 2, 3 to there. So that was a massive cock up on the NATO player. Oh, that was me too. Oops. So if Warsaw Pact win the initiative, these 2 positions could be in trouble. because the armor cannot get there. Now, with that in mind, I think the Warsaw Pact need to actually get these guys to attack. These here are close enough to do an assault, and that will cost a command point. So let's actually do that then. Can I flip one of these over? March, reserve, assault. So that is the green, the 22nd. They're going to assault. They've got 3 movement points if they do an assault, which will get them in there. Okay. This one here, to get into there, that's adjacent, so because assault, but that one, to bring these 4 steps, or 4 companies, whichever way you look at it, there's going to cost 1, 2. They're not going to get there. So I think we're going to keep that as a hasty attack. So let's just flip that to hasty. Now, what about the armor? Now, the armor is sitting here. We don't want to bring armor into a direct assault over here, but we do need it to protect. Now, one of the people made a comment that I've left my HQs and such forth exposed to a NATO counteroffensive. Maybe if I was playing this face to face, that could be an option. I'm not trying to stitch myself up, but I will use these shattered units to maybe protect, at least stop a NATO attempt there. NATO are defending stopping the Warsaw Pact getting off this board edge here. Say board edge, I mean, yeah, this edge. So, yeah, what to do with the armor? Now, it's a separate regiment, so I don't think it's got to attack on its own. I think we'll put it, no point putting it in reserve because it's not going to be close enough. So we're going to put it under march. So it can, okay. That costs 2 out of the 3 command points they have available. Now, there isn't a track for the Warsaw Pact. I don't think they can use a command point for anything else. So that's them all done in their planning. So we have the assault coming in here. We have a hasty attack coming in here. The other 2 regiments are in reserve. But that's the plan. Doesn't mean it's going to be able to execute because it all depends on who wins the initiative. So going back through that sequence of play, we've done the Warsaw Pact planning phase. We now roll for maneuver. Warsaw Pact rolls initiative. Odd is Warsaw Pact, even NATO. So we want an odd for the Warsaw Pact here. That's a 3. Yeah, 3 or 7, but yeah, it's a 3. So the Warsaw Pact do win the initiative. Okay, so once that maneuver phase now brings us to the activation cycle here. Okay, so it says activate 1 division, Warsaw Pact. So we're activating this East German division. There is only 1 division in this game. Okay, places a lead unit marker on each maneuver regiment activated in the current cycle. Okay, I might have missed that last time, but we've got to place one now. So this unit here needs, we'll mark as lead unit. This one here we will mark. Oh, that's interesting because they're not within 3 movement points. 3 hexes, 1, 2, 3. They're 4 hexes away. So they would not be able to be involved in that attack. They've got 2 separated. That was the cause of, because they couldn't move last time because they got disrupted by artillery. Interesting. Well, Does that mean they won't be able to move at all? I better double check that, but let's just mark that as a lead unit and then check that actual ruling. The way around this, there is a way around this. We make this unit the lead unit. Okay. There's a little bit of errata in and around this because this wasn't originally in that. The rule is 12.3.2, Warsaw Pact lead unit markers. And this is in red in the actual, there's a living rule set you can get from both Board Game Geek website and it's also on the Compass games. So this is when the Warsaw Pact activates a division, his first action is to place a lead unit marker on one unit of each regiment of that division. So yes, so this is actually shown on the sequence of play card. As I just said there, places a lead unit. That's not on my printed one that's in the game box. In the game box, it just says activate one division, Warsaw Pact, and then attach any independent battalion. So the one that's on the vassal module is the more up to date than the one that's sitting here. However, so I think, oh, that means that those units there, if I make this a lead unit, they're not within 3 hexes. However, as I said, there's a little workaround there by the looks of it, because it says, except under Warsaw Pact lead unit marker effects, no unit participating in a regiment's operation can enter any hex adjacent to an enemy unit unless it starts the operation within 3 hexes of the lead unit marker. Exception, and this is again in red, so it's an errata. A unit belonging to a Warsaw Pact regiment planned for reserve operation can react. Okay, so we're not looking at reserve operation. And then it says, when determining this 3 hex range, count the hex occupied, okay, by the lead unit. The unit that is already next to an enemy unit can remain in place even if it's not within the 3 hexes of the lead unit. Okay, so that means that it can participate because it's already adjacent. So next up, even though they're only going to do a march operation, we need to mark one of these with the lead unit marker. I've lost it. There you go, mark as lead unit. And I suppose this is relevant, but we will. There we go. All right, so that's that step taken care of. Bringing that up. We've done that. Redeployment, we're not playing in hidden mode. Reconnaissance segment. Okay, so we want the Soviets to be able to try and take out some of this Allied artillery. There's only one step of this left, and there's one step of the rockets. So it's 2 steps. So we want to do some recon, and we want to recon this and all this. The amount of recon points the Warsaw Pact, if I keep saying Soviet, Warsaw Pact, East German, they're all interchangeable in my mind and my gob. Whichever comes out is as I'm just narrating. Just please, I know it's meant to be just Warsaw Pact, but there we go. It comes out as is as I'm chatting. So I said Soviet. I do apologize. It's East German and it's Warsaw Pact. So anyway, the range of that artillery unit is 11. So can it actually get down this artillery? It cannot. So it's no use firing at those. Is there any point firing at the Abrams? They've got a really good defense value, so I'd say not. Is there any point actually firing at these to get them out of the way or disrupt them? Maybe. That is in range. We don't need to recon that hex, though it does have a high defense value. Now, regarding the other artillery unit, which is in here, that's got a range of 13. What can it see within its range? Is the enemy artillery within range? It is. So let's do that then. Okay, so let's spend a recon assets. We have got and it's a white circle on the HQ. So there's two recon assets there, one recon, but they have no offboard. So we've got three hexes we can recon. So let's try this hex here. In I need to get the charts and tables. There they are. Okay, they are, and then you take the nearest unit that could potentially do the recon, which would, in this case would be there, and the range to that target. Let's just again, I could count hexes, or I could use a little stick marker. It's a range of 8. It's in heavy woods, so they need a 9 or 10 to be able to recon that hex. Let's do that. A 9 or a 10. 3 new. We know this hex is out of actual artillery range. There's no point reconning it or attempting to recon. These ones we observe anyway. So let's try and recon this hex here. Okay, and that distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes away. That's a 6. 5 hexes in light woods. So that actual hex has been reconned. Acquired. There we go. Boom. And we've got one more. Let's try this hex because we don't have a unit adjacent. Now that is a town hex within 2 hexes. That needs a 6 or more. 10. Yes, that hex is reconned as well. Now, what that would actually mean in a face-to-face game against an opponent or in hidden mode is the Warsaw Pact would then know what's actually in that hex. The NATO player would actually have to reveal that there's only one step of Bradleys in there, and in there there are 2 steps of Bradleys. So it's just information. Now, do we actually want to fire some artillery at those hexes? We know we can't fire at these. They're either out of range or they're not reconned. So we can't actually fire at those. Now, the range of this battery is 11. Let's see what it can actually have within its arc. So it can fire at that, but it can't. That's 14. It could fire at that unit there. However, it's only got an attack strength of 5. And the defense strength of that unit in the town is 7. So they have to roll plus. In actual fact, the 5 is hard. Not great. So let's combine the 2 artillery. That's 8 from the rockets and 5 there. So again, I'm jumping the gun. All right, so we've just done the reconnaissance segment. We're now in the strike segment. So I just need to make sure I declare these things so you know where I am. So we've done the recon. We're now going to do the strike. And we're going to fire both at that. See if we can get it out of the way. It's acquired because there's a unit adjacent to it. It's observed is probably the correct word. So we're going to fire both batteries. Or do we say this for counter battery? No, we'll fire it. It's probably going to be wiped out before we actually get to do anything with it. So place fired marker says 8 from there. And there's only one step there as well. And 5 from there. 8 and 5. 13 halved. 6.5, which is 6. So there's a 6 fire strength coming in there. So they need to roll a plus. High is good. They haven't been rolling high, have they? So is that... This is going to be attacked. Is that the better target? You know what? I think it actually is. So let's do that. And we're not firing on here, as this is going to be attacked anyway. That's in range of both. We'll fire at that. So we have still got the same strength. 13 halved is 6.5, and it's rounded down, so it's 6. They do roll poo, don't they? Okay. 6 with a 2 is down 2, I think. -2. So that becomes 4. Now the Bradley in there has got a defense of 3, and the fire defense in Lightwoods is +2. Lightwoods is +2. That makes a defense of 5, and the attack was 4 because of that -2. So no effect from the offensive artillery. Now, I don't know if it's on here. Strikes, it's not. But when you suffer a strike, you can, as an interrupt, do a counter battery. Is that the most effective use of the NATO assets? Why, of this, yes. Let's give that a try. All right, so determine the range. Let's see if we can knock out this final bit of artillery. Range of 14, yes. Okay, so they've got to then look at the counter battery table to see if they can find that to actually strike it. US counter battery is more effective than any other, either the Warsaw Pact or any NATO ally. Range from the spotter. The spotter is a unit. Nearest unit is probably that one that was targeted. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hex range. Okay, and it's a towed artillery piece. Yes. So they need a 5 to be able to fire at it. 5 or higher. They missed it. And that does consume up that artillery's fire. So it's now classed as fired. Yeah, they tried, they missed it. Okay, so that's the strike segment done. Now we're into the operations, and we do each of these regiments one at a time. And let us start with this one. 20 seconds. So let's just zoom a little bit in that situation there. See what's going on. Right. So that regiment is doing an assault. So that's 20 seconds, as shown on here. They've got 3 movement points when you do an assault, but that allows... So what's the advantage of this over a hasty attack? An assault, I could have brought an extra regiment in. I can't see any other real advantage. So I could have done a hasty attack. It still uses up movement points. So yeah. All right. Now we are going to create or add another actual regimental counter onto the board. So let me just bring that. Okay, so I brought another counter. There's a maximum of 3 counters that can be used. I'm going to clone this. There we go. Change that down. Now, how do we change it down? Decrease. Close bracket. So probably that one. There we go. And make that. There we go. So each of these counters has 2 steps. Purpose of doing that is I'm going to try and go into there. So that limiting the retreat pass if it gets to retreat for that unit. Okay, so we are in the operation here of this circle. So we are going to go now to the assault operation. Right. Declare participating regiments. So we've only got one, an objective hex. So this here is the objective hex. So I'm going to place an objective marker on it. There we go. There's only one regiment involved. Okay, and I'll show the objective. Movement step. Move regiments or task force. No road movement allowed. Okay. So movement in the light woods is one movement point per hex. So we're going to move this lot here. 1, 2 to there. The lead that stays where it is. Then over here, we're going to bring one of these units. That's 1, 2. Now I want to get into that hex there. As it moves into that hex there, and it's moving through a zone of control, this unit here can do called infiltration fire. I've just had a reread of the infiltration rules. Infiltration fire. If this unit moves from there to there, this unit can fire at it, but it will be firing at double effect because this is an open hex. And I've decided as a Warsaw Pact player, I'd rather not take those kind of losses because this will be firing at 4, double to 8, then back to halved again to 4, but it's only got defense of 3. No, that's almost asking for a step loss. So no, not necessary. So should they have chosen a assault? Probably not. They should have chosen a hasty attack here. Then this unit could have got around there. The assault is only really necessary when you bring in multiple units into the attack, multiple regiments. Again, a learning curve. So he's going to 1, 2, 3. He's sitting in the open. Don't like that, but there we go. And this unit will go into there. I want to get in the cover from the woods. There we go. All right. So that's the 3 regiments moved. Reaction step is the next one here. And as we've worked out, they're too far away. They could spend a movement point, a command point, but they would only, you can't use road movement bonus. So they can't go half, 1.5, 2.5, which is what I was counting on a turn ago. But they can't, they've only got 1, 2 to there. 3, they can't get into the objective hex. There's no point spending a command point there. Okay, so they're standing on their own. Defensive fire call step. Do we bring some artillery in? I think as this is, we tried counter battery here. We've got 2 steps of artillery. We have got Warsaw Pacts in the open. Okay, all right. Rocket artillery can't do this, but standard artillery can. They are within command range of their HQ. Oh, are they? 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bloody hell. I'm playing like an absolute buffoon. They're not in command range of their HQs. They've only got a range of 10. Can't bring any defensive artillery down. Yeah, this is definitely a learning game, isn't it? Okay. So they're standing on their own without artillery support. Armor's too far away. I'm showing you guys exactly how not to play this game. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. No helicopters, no defensive. All right, the defensive fire of the unit. It can at least fire in its own defense, and it'll fire at the guys in the open. So it's got a fire value of 4 by itself, which is then halved to 2. 4 times 1 is 4, yeah. 2. Now, firing into clear, does that give you, don't think it gives you any bonuses. Firing from a town hex, does that give you any negatives? Firing from, no, it's not classed as close terrain. It's only cities that are classed as close terrain. So no. Okay, so basically it's got a fire strength of 4, halved to 2. High is good. Don't think a 4 is going to cut it. 4 is -1, so no effect on the defensive fire. Okay, bringing up the next step. Offensive fire. Right. So we will attack now with 4 times 2 is 8, plus 4 times 2 is 8, plus 4 times 5 is 20. So it's 20 plus 8 is 28, plus 8 is 36, halved, because it's the general halving rule. 36 halved is 18. Wow. Regiment can get quite a bit of firepower in there. 18. Now we're firing into a wood hex. That just improves their defense modifier. That's 18. So it's like rolling rubbish. As -2 takes it to 16, which is going to be more than enough to take that out. Now, the fire defense of that hex, it's a town hex, increases it by 4. So there are 7. Defense is 3 from the actual unit, plus 4 is 7, but we've got 16, sorry, to fulfill. So they can retreat, which fulfills 7 of them, but then the next 7 will eliminate the unit. So he is taken out. Okay, so let's remove the. All right, I'll just go and tidy that up. Now, this counter here is not destroy the steps are, but the counter's not. That can be used almost straight away by the NATO forces as another counter. So I could, like, one of those 2-step units that's over by Schweinfurt could now become 2 1-step units. So the counter itself is not destroyed. It's just removed. So I will remove it. Okay, so that's the Warsaw Pact's third. Sorry, that's the NATO Brigade's third step loss. 6 step blocks and they get shattered. So, 50%, and they can advance in. Now, do we? They're in Lightwood. Let's move the ones that are in the open out the open. That's as far as they can advance. They can't advance any further. So they've taken the hex and so eliminate the objective marker, and then they're all flipped to show that they've completed their operation. Okay, next up. The attack on this one. Well, at least we know he's within HQ range. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah. They can't move. They will be able to participate, but they can't move. Right, so this is a hasty attack. Let's see what the difference is. Oh, I'm rushing again. Doing it again. Sorry, guys. All right. Right, so let's go finish off that assault. Fire step, retreat step, try to retreat. Advance any surviving attacking units into the objective hex. Okay, we've done that, and then complete flip participating units to the user side. Return helicopters, remove lead unit and objective markers. Right, okay. So that just need to finish that operation. I'll remove that and remove the objective marker. I've already done that. Okay, cool. Right. Now we're going to do a hasty attack. which I probably should have done here, but we didn't. Right. So let's go through the steps on that one. Declare participating regiment. It's the 23rd Regiment. Movement step. Okay. We've already got the lead unit. We need to mark objective hex. The objective is however you pronounce that town. Rannanungen. Place objective marker. Boom. Okay. Movement step. We've got 6 movement points. First up, maybe use road movement, which is allowed by the Warsaw Pact player. So we know this unit can't move because it's not within 3 of the command of the lead regiment, but he is adjacent. So that's 1 movement point. 2 movement points. 3. Okay, then we could move further. 3 movement points. Now, these are clear. We don't really want to be moving through clear terrain, do we? Now we could, because this can do an odd infiltration fire if we do. But do we want all 8 steps involved there? No. So we are 1, 2, 3. We can't get around into this wood hex here. So some of the regiment is going to be exposed, but we know we're going to be able to be fired upon by this battery. So we've gone 3 movement points so far. What I'm going to do now is split those 4 into 2 lots of 2, like I did with the previous regiment. So as you can see, I've split that. And this can be done at any point during the movement phase. You can split units off. So they'll go there. And okay, they've used 3 so far. 4, 5, 6. The purpose of doing that is now they're not all grouped together for when this artillery unit will fire. Well, hopefully will fire. So that's the movement part. Remember, this part can't move because he wasn't within 3 hexes of the lead unit regiment, but it can participate in the attack. Okay. No jamming, none of this. Reaction step. We've already gone through. They can't react. Defensive fire. So 1 inactive HQ with an eligible observer can make a fire call to 1 artillery unit. Okay. So they can observe. The HQ is in range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not like it was last time. It will then bring this artillery in. I think against that step there. Okay. So it's defensive fire step. Fire call. So 1 inactive HQ. Execute defensive fire against participating unit. Absorb hits. Counter battery fire is possible. Okay. So we're going to fire that artillery at that. And the unit itself will fire at that. So is that sensible? Let's see. 4 times 2 is 8. Hard to 4. So without a die roll modifier going down, that should take a step off that. And that's got a fire defense of 4. Half to 2. Or do we make certain we take a step out? We know that the mass fire bit is going to probably eliminate this. We're going to try and take 2 steps. Okay, so the artillery firing first. So let's mark it as fired. As I say, so it's 4 multiplied by its steps is 2, so that's 8. Then it's halved to 4. Roll a 7. It's a good roll. 7 is +1. So fire strength of 4 comes 5. It's got a defense of 3. I don't think there's any minuses for being in clear. No. So it will take a step loss. Now, will that disrupt it? Or disruption only when there's a strike? I better check that. Now, it seems like disruption only occurs when it's a fire strike, which this isn't. Okay, so the artillery fire is effective. It's caused one step loss. Now, this firing onto that, it's got a fire defensive fire value of 4, multiplied by 1 is 4, halved to 2. Ooh, NATO, I keep saying I, but NATO keep rolling really, really well when they need to. A 9 gives plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4, which is again enough to cause a step loss, and that's 2 step losses. Okay, then on here, offensive fire call step. We know the Warsaw, have they fired all their artillery? Yes, they have. They've now fired all their artillery. So no more artillery. It's the offensive fire step. So we now have 3 plus 3, 6. And then from here, another 3 plus 4, 3 fours is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18, half to 9. Half to 9. Okay. 9 with a 6. I think that's no modifier. I've got to start remembering these. 6 is no modifier. So it's 9 that's inflicted. Okay. Now he's in a town. That makes his defense 3 plus 4 is 7. The 3 from the unit, which is the second number after the symbol, i.e. on the right. 3 plus 4, defense is 7. They only did 9. Not a lot. They can retreat, which they will do. They can stand there and take the loss, because that absorbs 7 of the attack value. So no step loss. However, the Warsaw Pact are going to, all right, the ones that sit in the open will advance into there. In actual fact, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 plus 6. They're nearly shattered. Okay, but they all go in? Yeah, it's the best defense. All right, so they all go into there. Okay, which instantly has this engaged, so it's flipped. That's what happens when you move adjacent to a retreating unit. Okay, if there had been a Warsaw Pact unit there or there, he would have potentially taken retreat fire, but he didn't, and there weren't. So that concludes that operation. Okay, just going to do that. Remove the objective marker and remove the unit marker. Right. So let's just show what's happened there. We've done the retreat step and the advance step, and then we just done the completion. Right. That's those 2 regiments done. Next up. All right, just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do this regiment here. The one that can't has only got 2 steps. I just want to make sure that the NATO forces can't get close to these. They're not going to be able to engage. So we're just going to put 1 step in the town. Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what, we're going to have that as a 2 step. and remove that from the board. And that brings that unit back. Okay, and get rid of that. And it just leaves. Oh, that then should be marked. The armor. Okay, they're starting to break through here. So it's probably best to reinforce this success if we can. And this is a march. So they've got 6 movement points. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5.5, 6. So once they move adjacent to it, they can't move adjacent to an enemy unit there. So 1, 2, let's move it. 1, 2, 3. Right, now I understand why I was going to. Let's just take that back a bit. Right. Yes, I wanted to protect these guys, wasn't it? So let me just bring that unit back on. Nearly made a cock up there. All right, let's decrease that. Oh, clone that. And then decrease both of them to 1 step. Right. One of those will stay there, and then one of these will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To defend, to stop a road movement by NATO forces up here. I mean, they could get 2 turns in a row, but again, NATO is defending the off-map movement or the attempt of off-map movement. But anyway, right. So then going back. So yes, get those over. I know they're only 1 step, and again, NATO could fire artillery, take that out, and then exploit through. But then again, these guys have still got to move, and they might move behind here anyway. So the armor. If that all makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Right, so that completes those operations there. Flip and flip those. Right, I think we need to move the HQs and the artillery to be in and around this area here. So we'll move this HQs. These are all march operations as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 into there. This artillery and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. One of the reasons why I'm moving this up is an automatic decisive victory if one of these HQs can get off the map board. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which is obviously what they would want, decisive victory. So yeah, let's flip all these over. Again, don't really need to do this, but it's useful, especially when it's a lot bigger game, to get in the habit of doing so. And those, as I say, were all march operations. So the artillery will fire as a strike or in defensive, and their movement will be in a separate actual operation. So that completes the Warsaw Pact. Who won the initiative? Let's bring us back to here, the activation cycle. We are in the maneuver phase, so it's now NATO part of the maneuver phase. They activate their brigade. Sorry, I should bring that up here. NATO brigade. Now, NATO could pass, and that was the end of the term, but obviously they've got a little bit of a problem on their hands. Okay. Recon. Now, we can recon, but we've got no artillery assets to really fire at them. They've already been used. So I am not going to bother with recon. Okay, so we got a little bit of a problem here. Let's just zoom in a little bit. This unit here, because it retreated and then was further engaged by the advance moving into them, they can't move. They have already done for the turn. And it's sitting in the open now. Hopefully NATO will win the next initiative. Otherwise, they are in deep doo-doos. Because sitting in the open ain't great. What to do about that? We could move one of our armored assets to reinforce it. Still not good. Sitting in the open, but we've got a plan for that. Okay. So the Warsaw Pact definitely hammering down here. We've got to start preparing a defense line to counter that. We've got 2 infantry in there and 2 in there and 1 there. So it's 5 infantry assets left, but 4 armored assets. Okay. These are going to be march orders. How many spare? We know we have a spare Bradley, but let's. Okay. Moving along the road. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lightwood is not ideal, but it's better than sitting in the open. So that's them done. Now this is march orders. Do not bring any artillery. They're not moving adjacent to an enemy. Okay, and this can be done in sort of any sequence. So we're going to move that up to there to make sure that they can't just break through the town. These West German units are attached to the NATO brigade. Still don't want a run through here. So we're going to actually split this unit. Ooh, wrong button. This unit here with the spare unit I've got. Okay, so we're going to move one of these. So I'll put an extra counter there, splitting this up into 2. So we're going to put 1 guarding the entrance to the town. And then I think the other one needs to move probably here. The march operation. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We understand this is quick movement through here anyway. So now we've got 3 Abram counters. We've got 2 on the board. We do need to keep just in case of the Warsaw Battle, I mean, can they get around there quickly? 1, 2, 3, 4. No. So we don't need Abrams there. We need it here. So I'm going to move this back 1, 2, 3 into there. So he can react 1, 2, 3 to there, or 1, 2 to there, and still split. And this guy can go 1, 2. Is the ideal there 3? Then he can react 1, 2, 3 to there, 2, 3 to there. Hopefully I'm learning. Well done there. I only want to flip it. Sure, it's done. Okay, so he's flipped. And he's flipped. Okay. And I've got a spare counter if necessary. HQ, they're all in range. The artillery, do we want to move that? The artillery, I think, is fine where it's located. Oh, I missed something here. Can't cover everything. No, the Abrams cover that. So if these comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. I think that's sort of the best. Yeah. Okay. Um, all they did was lots of marches. No actual command points were expended. They don't accumulate it, and that actually ends the maneuver phase. There is no reserve because virtually everyone's activated. There's no engineering. So now we do the remove disruption. That's done by the reorg. And that flips everyone back. As you can see, this is all the black on their values rather than white. No one else is shattered. The blue regiment here is close. Got 4, 5, 6. So once it goes down to 5, it then rolls for shatter. Okay. Turn all that. Move game turn 1 box. We will be moving on to turn 5. But I'll do that off screen. Okay. Whoa. I think there was less errors, rules wise, play wise. Well, you can see I'm still making mistakes. So let's bring us back up to the top. Okay. Well, I thought that was interesting. Getting the reserve placement incorrect. And the HQ range, you've got to just double check all these things. As I said, it's a learning game. I'm learning how to play this. It's been fascinating from my perspective, and I hope it has been for yours. There's not that many maneuver units on the board, but a lot of things can still happen. I assume with the bigger scenarios, you've got more options, got to be more careful. That's why you have a learning scenario. If you enjoyed what you've seen and it's been helpful to you, please hit the like button. I'm only asking for likes now at the end of videos. If you're still here, yay! But do the housekeeping, please. Do the like. If you dislike the video, let me know why. Because that way I can improve what I do. If you haven't done so already and you enjoy what I've done on other things, please subscribe. It all helps the channel. And any comments, especially ones that say that would be better play and such forth, all help myself and other individuals out there who have been watching. But until next time, to be turn 5, play games, have fun, buy internet,